On November 22, 1963, it was proven that John F. Kennedy was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald in Texas while riding in a presidential motorcade. However, many questionable factors provided by the United States government regarding the assassination left American citizens suspecting there was more to the case. Lee Harvey Oswald was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, to his widowed mother, Marguerite Claverie Oswald. His father died before he was born, and his mother sent all three of her children to an orphanage. After a few years, the kids lived with their mother and her new husband named Edward A. Ekdahl. Ekdahl was a father figure in Oswald's life until Marguerite divorced him. Oswald's two older brothers attended military school, leaving him and his mother all alone and moving frequently. While he attended 6 different schools, Oswald was a very rebellious child and did poorly in school. At the age of 17, Lee Harvey Oswald signed up to join the U.S. Marines. He was considered a loner as he didn't get along with his fellow Marines. He also had trouble with military authority and was court-martialed twice, the second time sending him to military prison. Oswald ended his military career 3 months early by applying for a hardship discharge to care for his mother. After coming home from the U.S. Marines, Oswald became deeply interested in communism and believed it was the wave of the future. He traveled to Europe and eventually ended up in Moscow. Once in Russia, he publicly made anti-American statements and applied for Soviet citizenship. The Russian government did not trust Oswald as they believed he was a spy for the United States and they denied him citizenship. However, he remained living in Minsk and met his future wife, Marina Prusakova. They married, had a child together, and in 1962 moved back to the United States due to his realization that life in the Soviet Union was not living up to his communist ideals. Oswald and his family moved to New Orleans, and he became politically active as he started a pro-Castro organization that argued for free trade and improved diplomatic relations between the United States and Cuba. Oswald tried to establish himself publicly as pro-Cuban. He applied for both Cuban and Soviet citizenships, and when both governments refused him, Oswald moved his family to Dallas, Texas. There, an acquaintance helped him get a job at the Texas School Book Depository. The day of November 22, 1963 is said to go down like this. In the morning, Lee Harvey Oswald arrives at work with a long brown paper bag. A co-worker, 19-year-old Wesley Frazier, asks what was inside of it. Oswald's reply being, "Oh, just some curtains." Frazier thought nothing of it. At 11:37 a.m., JFK and the First Lady land with the Air Force One in Love Field, Dallas. The Kennedys greet some of their many supporters and climb into a limousine with the top down. At 11:52 a.m., the motorcade heads for downtown Dallas while the Kennedys were in the back seat and the Texas Governor John Connally and his wife were in the front. At about 12:30 p.m., while the motorcade is passing the school depository, JFK is struck in the neck with a bullet as he starts to wave. The bullet passes through, strikes John Connally's shoulder, wrist, and thigh. Another shot hits the president in the head at about ear level as he bends forward. At 12:40 p.m., Oswald walks 7 blocks from the depository to board a city bus. At about 1 p.m., as Oswald gets dropped off and walks home, the president is pronounced dead at Parkland Hospital. At 2 p.m., Oswald is arrested at a movie theater, where he is watching the movie War is Hell. 4 officers were needed to successfully arrest him.
Conspiracy number 1. One of the most frightening theories is that the assassination was an inside job. According to biographer Philip Shannon, that was Bobby Kennedy's first thought. Apparently, Bobby Kennedy's first suspicion was that it was some rogue element in the CIA, Philip told NBC News. After Kennedy met with the CIA, he changed his mind. However, the public would not let go of this theory. Of course, an organization that is shrouded in secrecy and has a motive, the Bay of Pigs situation, is always going to be a suspect in people's minds. The CIA spokesman, Edward Price, spoke to NBC. While the CIA conspiracy theories make a good fodder for movies, they are pure fiction.
And that brings us to conspiracy number 2. This theory hinges on the fact that since Kennedy was unsuccessful in overthrowing Fidel Castro in Cuba, the mob-owned casinos remained shut down, and that his brother, Robert Kennedy, was cracking down on the mob in his role as Attorney General. According to biographer Evan Thomas, Robert Kennedy had a fear that he had somehow gotten his own brother killed, that Robert Kennedy's attempts to prosecute the mob and to kill Castro had backfired in some terrible way, had blown back, as the intelligence folks say. Bobby thought that he'd be killed, not his brother, and now he has this daunting, horrible realization or fear that all of his attempts to get the mob and to get Castro have in some terrible way blown up and come back to haunt his family and resulted in the death of the president, his brother.
Conspiracy number 3, that Oswald did not act alone. This is by far the most believed in conspiracy, and the House of Representatives is to blame for this conspiracy theory. In 1976, the Select Committee on Assassinations, which reinvestigated JFK's killing as well as Martin Luther King Jr.'s, concluded that there was probably a second shooter on the grassy knoll, a hill overlooking the site where Kennedy was assassinated in his motorcade. Also, in 1982, another committee looked at the evidence suggesting there was a second shooter. The National Academy of Sciences Committee on Ballistic Acoustics found that reliable acoustic data did not support the conclusion that there was a second gunman.
Most people believe in this conspiracy because of the angles that the bullet traveled to get through Kennedy's neck and Connolly's shoulder, wrist, and leg. For one bullet to do that, the angle must have been perfect, which is highly unlikely. Also, for one bullet to travel through that many people and body parts, it would have been basically destroyed, but in evidential pictures it shows the bullet intact. There must have been 2 different bullets. After Kennedy was murdered, his successor, Lyndon Johnson, established the Warren Commission to further investigate this death. Led by Chief Justice Earl Warren, the commission concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone and there was no conspiracy, domestic or international, involved in the assassination. Unfortunate for the government, the Warren Commission failed to silence the conspiracy theories regarding the JFK assassination. The JFK assassination left most of America doubting their trust in the government, and as a result, many conspiracies were created. Even 55 years later, America still questions the accuracy of the Warren Commission's statements regarding the assassination, causing Donald Trump to release more files in 2017. Although nothing is confirmed, the proof provided that supports many conspiracies will forever lead Americans to believe in their own theories of what actually occurred on the afternoon of November 22, 1963.